Hey everyone, it's Brett from Hope to Prosper, and I'm here in beautiful Yuma, Arizona. It's nice and cool. Sun's just coming up, and we're just out in the field scouting for doves for dove hunting season. Anyways, I'm here with my brother Chet. New adventure today, and today's subject is going to be the transition into retirement. So thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoy it. I want to talk today about navigating the transition into retirement. If you follow my channel for any length of time, you know I had a pretty rocky start to my retirement, and I just want to help others avoid the stress that I experienced. So, retirement's a complex, multifaceted life transition. So, the more you're prepared for it, the better off you're going to be. So let's dig in and get started, and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. So first I want to talk about retirement finances. Any conversation about retirement usually starts with finances. For some people it starts and ends with finances, but that's just one facet. So moving from a steady paycheck to living off your investments and Social Security and other retirement sources of income, it's no easy task. It's hard to calculate and figure out what you're going to do and what you're going to get. So you'll want to enjoy a comfortable retirement without the fear of running out of money. There's two big mistakes you can make in retirement. One is spending up all your money, and the other is hoarding all your money and letting your time slip by without doing things that make your retirement enjoyable. And you don't want to do either. You don't want to fail in either way. So the key is to estimate the amount you're going to need and the sources that will fund your retirement income and calculate that all up, which isn't as easy as it sounds. And I could spend hours on just this one subject, but I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. So first off, you're going to need about 75 to 80% of your working income in retirement. It's different for everybody. For me, I found that I was spending 100% of what I spent when I was working. But to be honest, I was pretty frugal when I worked. And I was saving 50% of my net income. So in retirement, I'm basically spending the same amount, which isn't a lot. But for other people, you'll save about probably 20 to 25% on not commuting, not eating big things at work, not having work clothes. You save a lot of costs by, retiring, a lot of work-related costs. Next, a safe withdrawal rate from your investment is around 4 to 5%. I've done whole videos on this. I chose the 5% safe withdrawal rate, but there are a lot of people, it's almost like a cult religion, who think 4% is max and that's all you should take. But basically, if you have, for every $100,000, you're going to be able to draw $4,000 or $5,000 per year. And so, that's why a lot of people say, oh, you need $1 million. I have about a little over $1 million put away, and that affords me $50,000 a year. To be honest, I'm taking 6% right now, where the market's up. So I'm living pretty well. But if you don't have a big, huge portfolio, then you're going to be probably living more on Social Security or pensions, or maybe you have rental property. Who knows? So you're going to need about 20, so at a 4 to 5% safe withdrawal rate, you're going to need about 20 to 25 times your annual investment income. So, as I said earlier, you're going to get about $5,000, $4,000 to $5,000 for every $100,000 you have put away. And finally, the last thing I want to say about retirement finances, this is very abbreviated, by the way, very brief. I recommend using a bucket strategy to reduce risk in your portfolio. Having a retirement portfolio when you're not working and you're living off it is very different than having a 401k and you're working every day saving up. It's a completely different thing. You have to kind of de-risk it because that is your future. And you can't just invest the way you used to invest. A bucket strategy is really simple. They mostly have 3 buckets. They have a near-term bucket, which is going to be money market, or a cash equivalent, CDs or whatever, and that bucket should be a year or two, so that if the market crashes, you have some cash to live off, so you don't cash out your stocks, when they're way down, and that will give you that will make you experience what's called sequence of investment risk, or sequence of loss. Yeah, sequence of investment return. Sequence of return risk. I'm sorry. Then you have a middle bucket. That's where you have stuff like bonds or income investments, and that should be another couple years. And then the rest you can put in high-yielding investments such as stocks, and that will help fund your retirement. You need that growth for long term. So I recommend a bucket strategy to reduce risk in your portfolio and ensure that you're going to have a long, prosperous retirement. So another recommendation I have is to use a financial calculator to help with this process. This all seems very complicated, but one great free calculator I used, it's called FICalc, and it's at ficalc.app. And I used it to create my first basic retirement plan, and it was easy, and it's easy to use and easy to understand, and it's free. So it's a great free resource. It has Monte Carlo simulations, and so it'll give you a probability of success. And it's fantastic. A great paid resource is called New Retirement. This is something I've looked into. I haven't switched over it yet, but I plan to in the near future. It costs a little over $100 a year, but it's well worth it. New Retirement's great for comprehensive planning, such as minimizing taxes, Roth IRA conversions, things of that sort. It's well worth it. Any $100 is nothing compared to the thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of mistakes you could make. Trust me. Okay, I just want to say welcome to my channel, and if you enjoy watching my videos, please think about subscribing if you haven't already. I promise I have some great videos coming up, a big adventure next week. And my name is Brett, and this channel is about early retirement skills and adventure. Thanks a bunch. Next, let's talk about time and purpose. In my experience, the hardest part of the retirement transition has nothing to do with money and everything to do with time and purpose. You know, once you figure out your money and you have your number nailed and the math works, that kind of becomes less of an issue. And what becomes an issue is, what are you going to do with your retirement? So most retirees or people who are not retiring, they're scared to death of sitting around all day with nothing to do, and I don't blame them. To be honest, I never had this problem. My time flies by. I'm searching for moments to do things like finish this video. So time has never been a problem for me. Finding a purpose, that was another thing. I went into retirement thinking, I don't really need a purpose. My purpose is to relax, vacation, and enjoy my retirement. But after a little while, it kind of left a hole in my life. I've always been goal-driven and goal-oriented, and I have accomplished almost all my goals. So I really didn't have a purpose in my retirement. So that left me kind of searching. So I've since created a purpose, and I'm much happier now. And I'm haven't even started working on it, but just having it, it's really changed everything. It's been a game changer in my retirement. So if you go into retirement only thinking about relaxation, you think you're going to play golf 5 days a week, or you're going to sit on a beach with a Mai Tai, you might experience this hole as well. It's something to think about if you haven't yet retired. You might want to think about what you plan to do in retirement in addition to travel and relaxation. All right, next let's talk about social connections. So social isolation, it's a very dangerous thing in retirement. If you're sitting alone, as are millions of retirees these days, and this has really gone up, I strongly recommend you develop your social circle now. If you have retired and you don't have a big social circle, I definitely recommend you take action now. Going from seeing people all day at work to sitting alone all day by yourself, it's not fun and it's not healthy for you. In fact, here are some sobering statistics. So, 27% of Americans over age 60 live alone in America. That's crazy. That's the second highest in the world. I'm not sure what the highest is, maybe Korea. But that's a lot. Over a quarter of Americans live alone in retirement. That's crazy. And 25% of adults over 60 experience social isolation. So I guess 2% of those 27% are happy. The other 25%, they're feeling alone and isolated. And then living alone, it contributes to all kinds of health problems and premature death. Believe it or not, things like stroke, heart attack, dementia, and also depression, they go way up if you're alone. And people who live alone, they're 50% more likely to get dementia. You just don't have anybody to talk to and bounce things off of. So that is something that you want to address, whether you're retired or whether you're thinking of retiring. Your work buddies are going to be at work and you're not. So keep that in mind. So if you don't have other retired friends to hang around with, think about joining a meetup group or pick up a social sport such as golf or pickleball, something you could do with others. I met my friend John through this channel, and he was newly retired like me, and we either hike or grab a bagel once a week, and then we talk. And it's really nice to have someone who's an early retiree with a lot in common, and we bounce ideas off each other and we talk about our lives. It's wonderful to have people like that in your life you can do stuff with. I'm fortunate. I also have a big family. My wife and I do a lot of stuff, so I'm very fortunate. But if you don't, make sure you take action on it. It's not something to be passive on. Okay, let's wrap it up. So in conclusion, I just want to say that every big life change is scary, and retirement is probably one of the biggest life transitions most people are going to make. It's bigger than moving out, going to college, all those things, getting married. But if you plan your transition carefully, it'll probably go smoothly. But if you skip some steps, like I did, and I'm not recommending skipping any steps, you're most likely going to experience fear and stress. I had a lot of sleepless nights, really worrying about stuff that was a non-issue, just because I didn't have it nailed down. So I don't recommend that. So my advice to you, not only to plan and be prepared, but enjoy the journey and embrace the change. A lot of the changes that are going to come, you can't control, so you need to embrace them. Okay, so thanks everyone for coming along this week. I wish you all health, happiness, and prosperity in your lives. I'll see you next week on our next big adventure. Big adventure. Maria and I are headed out to what I call the Big Sky Tour. We're going to head to Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Those are the only 3 states west of the Mississippi I haven't seen. And we're going to see Glacier, Yellowstone, and Grand Tetons National Parks. So I should have some pretty epic footage for my next couple videos. But I want to let you know also that my next video is going to be late because I'm going to be off the grid for 9 days. Okay, thanks for coming along.